Simon. King Simon, I love him. He's family, and he has one of the top shows on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network, actually.
That's right.
So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, this show is called, it was really based on Numerovation. It's a numerology show, and it's called How to Calculate Your Destiny.
Yes.
By King Simon. He's the host of the show. The show has done so well, we're now getting ready to start working on filming season 2. All right, so King Simon, one of the top shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV, streaming TV platform.
Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. Hey, this is King Simon, the International Numerovator. Remember, get all my books on Amazon or go to Linktree/King Simon, the Numerovator. And remember, don't forget to book my sessions at 347-496-1022. Book now.
Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are mere fragments from the periphery of the African cultural and spiritual system. And so I'm still making that statement that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are fragments from the periphery of the African spiritual and cultural system.
The legend Professor James Smalls with special guests Destiny Pendarvis and Tassili Ma'at. Get your tickets at Linktree/King Simon, the Numerovator. Get them now. All right, my family, I hope everybody's well. We're going to have a great show today. The Numerovational perspective of growing pains on YouTube and other platforms. All right, so take a step back and relax. We're going to get ready to get it in. Just want to remind each and every one of you, make sure you vote for the Forbidden Knowledge, the second annual Forbidden Knowledge Conscious Award. Vote for King Simon. Category, television host. Yeah, or you can text to vote at 954-254-0086. That's 954-254-0086. You can text to vote. And remember, you can also go to the link to vote also. And I'll place that link in the description right now. Let me place that link in the description right now so y'all can get those voting going popping. That's right, the Forbidden Knowledge Awards. That's right, let's make it happen. Let's have a good time. I'm going to be there in full form, as you know, as I will be. Get done ready. We're ready already. We're going to do it just like that. Nice and crisp. And IG, how you doing, IG? Let me text it. Let me put it on IG also. Big up to the IG family. So make sure y'all tune in and be a part of the Forbidden Knowledge second annual. Man, you can get it. You can click on that link right now and vote, or you can text. It depends on what you want to do. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And do remember, on Wednesday, myself and Carrie Ann Ingram will be live and direct right here on Wednesday. That's going to be happening tomorrow. Her and I are going to be going in together. And then next week, we're going to have people like Hadia. We're getting those flyers together. And then on the Sunday, we're going to have Wella Girls, the legendary female R&B reggae group, is going to be with me on Sunday, March the 17th. That's March the 17th, those beautiful sisters. And I got much more sisters coming up for Women's History Month, so don't go nowhere without it. Of course, the private and public event, come on down to see Professor James Smalls, the legend himself, will be in Atlanta, Georgia, over there at YG Cafe on Saturday, April the 6th. Early bird tickets have now gone up to $35, so make sure you come on out. And then the private event is going to be off the hook also, $99 all day. And we will have a lunch break for an hour where we're going to have a good hors d'oeuvres provided for those that are going to be participating in this. It's only 33 people allowed in this particular event on this day. Only 30. And if you want to come to both of them, you have to text me, because I'm going to have you pay through PayPal and all that good stuff. And then I'll give you a discount if you're paying for both days. If you're coming to both days, because he's going to be teaching on two different subjects, on both days. This is going to be a particular subject, spiritual warrior. And then, of course, we're going to do the Q&A all day, no holds bar on the 7th after 6, okay? And do remember, I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, April the 13th. I mean, not Atlanta, in New York City, April the 13th and 14th with Bowman, with Unc Rising Sun, with Mama Ella. And then on the 14th, we have Adara Moselle, Lloyd Strayhorn, and Dr. Shakira Moore. And then, would you believe it? Rizza Islam is going to come 2 weeks after, April 27th and 28th over there at Nicholas Brooklyn. So big up to Nicholas Brooklyn. Spoke to Monique today. So big up to everybody. Big up to Carrie Ann. Make sure you salute Carrie Ann and what she does. There it is. There she go. CarrieAnnIngram.com, of course. And make sure you salute my son, Green Studio, New York City.com, DrLailaAfrica.com, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. Hit them up. Don't forget the book is coming out. The audio book is coming out. It will be on YouTube for free, raw dog, but you could only get it through Linktree. And then I'm going to mix it with music, and then you can buy that on all platforms after that. But don't forget the children's book is coming out before spring. That's right. The children's book is coming out. The new children's book, Let We Tell the Story. And you can get all of my books through Amazon. Or you can go to Linktree/King Simon, the Numerator. Look, I only have 13 slots left if you want to book a session for me in the month of March. 13 slots left if you want to book a session in the month of March. Remember, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. And remember, I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I am thankful for my life. So, family, what up, though? What up, family? How y'all doing? Yeah, I know. I be running, a lot of people like, why don't he just go straight into the show like Brother Rich and Star and everybody? Because I got things to say and I got things to do. I got people that I'm advertising and showing respect to. So it is what it is. How y'all feeling out there? How it is? Wholeness, balance, vibrations to all of y'all out there on Instagram. If you can hear me clearly, put the number 1 in the chat on all platforms. We broadcasting on Instagram, Facebook. Oh, I didn't go up on Twitter X. Can I still go on there? You know what? I'll just let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. Here's a word of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. I didn't get to put it on Twitter. I didn't get to put it on the other platform, but it's all right. Let it be. I'm not going to stress, because when you start doing too much, you know what it is. There's too much going on. You know what I'm saying? The king is up to swing, baby. And I got to big up a beautiful couple that sent me the products the other day. And boom. Hold on. Let me change up some stuff here so I can get it full swing. I want to get it full swing today. I got to big up Asir the Duke of Tears and his beautiful wife, Selena. I got my package yesterday, CordobaOrganics.com. Make sure you go. I got a nice hair oil for my hair, of course, because the hair growing out, got to make sure the afro looking tight. You know what I'm saying? And I got the what else? I got something for skin, keeping the skin right, nice and moisturized. So enough respect to Cordoba Organics. I said the Duke of Tears and his wife, the one, the only Selena of 10,000 years. That's his wife for many years. Both of them born on the 22nd too. So both of their energy is a 44 energy. 22 plus 22 equals that 44, and 44 is trusting in the universe. And that's one of the couples that I notice, young couples because I've known them for over 20 years now. Young couples that I notice that they really trust in the strength of their unity and the strength of their coupleship, and they complement each other. So one born on the 22nd of September, the other one born the 22nd of March. What a combination of those two. And remember that 44, because 22 plus 22. If you want to find out the relationship dynamics between your partner, just with the personality number, add the day you were born to their day, and then you'll find what you need to do. Then you can look in my book, you can look in Lloyd's book, you can look in all of that. So let's say if you're born on the 10th of the month, right? and your partner is born on the 15th of the month, you look up the 10 plus the 15 equals 25. And then that particular number tells you what you need to do with that relationship. The 2, of course, means you have to be compassionate and maintain balance with each other. The 5 represents that you have to be flexible and adaptable with each other and learning how to listen to each other. And then the 7 says y'all need to do spiritual work like meditation, praying together, and all of that. So when I add that 10 plus the 15, but I stopped doing compatibility sessions because there's so much nuances that I break down when it comes to how your numbers can work and how the negative of those numbers can work. And when you subtract the numbers, so let's say I subtracted 10 from 15, 10 from 15. Now that if I subtract 10, 15, take away 10, now you get 5. So the 5, the negative, because it's a subtraction, the 5 on the negative says you can become reckless with each other's mouth and getting into arguments. So I'm talking about somebody born on the 10th and the 15th, and y'all dating, y'all working together. If you're not willing to be flexible with the 5 says and adapt to each other, then y'all can become reckless. Y'all can become scandalous. Y'all can become over addictive to arguments and communication problems. See, that's how I break down the numbers. I do the add and the subtraction because if you're adding on, I'm trying to show you through your numbers how you can add on. So 15 plus 10 equals 25. So I already know what needs to be done, what type of work needs to be done if you're adding on. But if you're subtracting, that means you're removing the possibilities of doing the spiritual work and going to the reckless vibration of the number 5 on the negative. And that's where 5 is a freedom number. So if they keep on being reckless, then they will free each other and become free from each other. That's how your brother breaks down compatibility. But I stopped doing compatibility sessions. I pass it on to Lloyd and let y'all get it from his perspective, or Jackie or somebody. I got no, because every time I do it, I give up because it takes a lot of energy for me to do those type of things, a lot of math, because I got to show you if your middle name, your first name, your last name, everything working and how it can work and how it don't. Then I have to show you how your birthday works from your alignment number to this, your life path and all. I got to go through all of that and do all of this. And then if one person is not willing to work, if not one person is not willing to go through the growing pains, that's why I'm teaching on this today. If one person is not willing to go through the growing pains of making that relationship work, then it will not work. Period. Period. Can I get a number 1 in the chat if you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to break down the mathematical, the numerical value, the numerovation of the words growing pains and why it is so important. Put a number 1 in the chat if you understand what your brother is saying from his perspective, because it's a perspective. But I've seen the perspective work on multiple levels. I've seen it work over time. And I used to do compatibility sessions, and my compatibility sessions are $300 to $400, an hour and a half. $300 to $400, an hour and a half. I might just, middle it out and make it $333 or something like that, but if I go back into it, but couples can be so stressful because they're not willing to compliment. And some people are not willing to go through the growing pains of making that relationship work. Look, I'm accused of it too. Believe me, when I didn't understand under the signs and I didn't use it because I was really studying, but I kept it in the back burner for a while. Every marriage, I could have broken down the understanding and numbers with it if I would have adhered to you try to wing it. And winging it is good. If it's a natural connection and all that, it can be good. But the numbers just totally help to define and tweak it a little bit more so it can become better. The astrology refines and tweak it a little. Cardology may refine and tweak it a little. If you're in a good relationship, you don't have to come to me. But if you want to tweak it for business purposes, for health purposes, the numbers can help, because the numbers are indications and indicators of what can go wrong, but I'm trying to help you to manage your weaknesses and strengthen your strength, because even the couples go through different cycles every day, every month, every year, according to the numbers, according to astrology, according to cardology. So I am the Numerovator. So I stay focused on the numbers and how those number sequences can help and guide you and take you to the next level. That's all I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing. Thank y'all very much for sending positive vibes, whoever's coming on right now. Thank y'all very much, because we're about to get it in. And do remember, please, if I mean anything in what I teach from what's coming through me in this age of Aquarius that's coming through your king brother, king only means kin, kin means kin. That means something that's been passed down in the bloodline, kin of God himself, the G. You know what I'm saying? So in the God bloodline, I am a promoter. I am a Numerovator. I am that. It's in my family lineage. So that's why I call myself king, not of no ego. I'm calling because the root word of king is kin, kith and kin. It has been passed down to me as a promoter. My father was a promoter. My cousin was a promoter. I became a promoter. And now one of my sons are promoting. So it's a bloodline thing. That's why I really call, because I wasn't calling myself king for years, but every reggae show, yo, king, what I say, yo, king, what I say, yo, King Simon, what I go on. And then it's just stuck. And then I made King Simon Productions, but people was calling me Simon or Simon Templar back in the radio days and all that. So, you know, but again, if you spread love, PayPal and Cash App, spread love, it ain't no shame in my game to circulate the information and circulate finance. That's what it is. Today's topic, again, numerovational perspective of growing pains, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I kind of changed it on the board, emotionally, ESP, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, because everything has a emotional, spiritual, and physical perspective to it. So that's why we're going to get it in and have a good time doing it. And we're going to doing it well, doing it well. We're going to do it well. So, man, what a subject, because I think I was sleeping on this subject, man. I mean, I think I woke up in dream worlds in this subject, man. This thing is a powerful subject, because I personally have gone through growing pains, and all of us have gone through growing pains, not just physically throughout life with our families, our mothers, our fathers, just growing in the womb. Just incubating in the womb is a form of growing pains that you may not remember. Sometimes you got to look at it from the microcosmic level, what growing pains is, because the words growing pains actually adds up to a number 8. And that's an old soul and an old vibration that's telling you that people in ancient time of antiquity, because the number 8 is an old soul, and then in the Chaldean system, it adds up to a number 9, which is another old soul number. So always remember, in certain systems of numbers, in the study of numbers, the old soul numbers are the 7, 8, 9, and going into the master numbers and all those type of numbers. The progression of it. So the youthful numbers are usually considered the 1, 3, and the 5, and the 6 is right there in the middle. But 7, 8, and 9 going up are always considered the older energy number. So if you're born under the 6, the 7, 8, or the 9, you will be considered an old soul. If you're born, to me, from my perspective, if you're born on the 10th, all the way up, you're considered an old soul to me, because there's a combination of things happening now. And it's adding depth and dimension to your name or your birthday. So when I start seeing those old soul energies, that's when I could recognize that you're an old soul from a numerical perspective, or you have old soul tendencies from a numerical perspective. Can I get a number 1 in the chat if you understand what I just said? So the mathematics is an indication to me that you have an old soul or you have the tendency to act like you was old when you was younger. People might have said, "Oh, he's such an old soul. Man, you're just like your grandmama. You're just like your granddaddy. You favor your uncle. You favor your grand uncle. You favor your." I used to get a lot of that. A lot of times, I used to favor my grandfather. I favor my, on my uncle's side, on my mother's. I favor one of my great granddaddies or great grand. That's what I used to get. And then realize that my life path is a number 8 after I study, because when you add the February, which is a 2, the second month, plus the 1, plus the 1967 adds up to 1970, and 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 0 equals 17, which is an 8. So that's an old soul energy. Do you get what I'm saying, my friend? I hope everybody is getting what I'm saying today. Yes. How many of you out there has been called an old soul? Put the number 8 in the chat. If you've been called an old soul since you was a child, how many of you have been called an old soul since you was a child? Put the number 8 in the chat if you've been called an old soul since you was a child. Put the number 8 in the chat, please. I'll wait. Wait a minute. I got to drink with the pinky out. Good. So many of you have understand what I mean by the old soul energy. It is the truth energy that reveals that people that have old soul energy, like the words growing pain, because it's an old thing. It's something that has come through since we came on this planet, since we've been on this planet. All of us have gone through this old soul energy of what we call growing pains, emotionally, ESP, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Let me say that again. All of us have gone through the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical ramifications of what we call growing pains. Some people made it through the womb, some people didn't. We can't even imagine what it's like for a child to start growing in the womb of a mother. Women may feel it, but are they really imagining the pain and the stretching forth and everything that's coming from a little clot to what it becomes, a fetus and whatever? It's a growing pain. It's just that we are so used to it, we don't realize that the child that's going through it maybe if you ever watched a vampire movie, the ones that for this day and time, like Underworld, when they became werewolves, that pain from transforming and growing from a regular human being to a werewolf is painful. That's why if you watch the werewolf movies, you'll see that the first time that they ever initiate going through the transformation, you'll see them, they start screaming, ah, 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 and they're coming out and they're peeling out. Just like time he experienced turning into Hulk, he went down, he started feeling the pain, because remember, his bones and his body is stretching to match up to that frequency that he's about to become. So the Hulk is a great, great example. And because the Hulk is green, that represents the Heru energy, or it represents one of those deities of that time, because they used to say the deities of that time, because of the gold in their skin, according to some studies, they used to say that because of the gold in their blood is why they turned out to be olive green, or they was kind of greenish looking on the walls. And that's what some of the studies in the metaphysics and all of that, and spiritual studies of Heru and all of those deities that we respect in Kemetic, why you see green hue and somebody have an olive tone, so to speak. The blood might not have a lot of iron, it has a lot of gold in it. That's what I was learning from my elders back in the day. So it is a powerful thing. So the Hulk is a primary example of what I'm trying to say when it comes to growing pains. So everybody has this Hulk frequency. When I say that, I mean by the growing pain frequency of either it can become destructive or it can become productive. because it's an emotional, spiritual, and physical growing pain. That's what it's going through. So all of us have gone through it. And I'm proud to say that the emotional things that I went through as a young has helped me to become better through those growing pains. Whether my father wasn't there or not, I love my father more today than I understood love in that day and time, because I studied his background and I said, man, I said, Pops went through, and I see why the cycles continue sometimes. And I did it towards my children. You know, the majority of my boys probably got the most of me, especially the 4 boys with my second wife. They got the most of me. The daughters didn't get that much of me. So I know I'm going in and out with them and all that kind of stuff. So, but they're growing, it's their growing pains that they're going through, not being able to deal with me because of my things that I was doing, my juvenile things that I was doing in the club life and all that kind of stuff. Not blaming anything, but understanding that my cycles that kept on cycling through has caused growing pains for my children, my daughter, and believe me, I forgive myself and I try to tell them to forgive me and all that, but I can't push and force nobody to forgive me. I'm only in control of me, because I had to stabilize me from going through what I went through with my father. And my father, when he told me his stories, he had to go through what he had to go through with his father, to the point when his father came to even try to chastise him in Jamaica back in the day. After not seeing him a lot of time, he was just in and out. My father climbed up a mango tree, which he knew his father was not going to do. He told me the story. He said, nah, man, how are you going to? My father was like, when he told me the story, he said, how are you going to come and chastise me when I don't even know you? I haven't even seen you. How are you going to come? Because sometimes the women in our families, when they want to discipline the boys, they will call the father, because there's a certain energy that father pulls in when you say, I'm going to call your father. And yes, when my mother said she was going to call my father, there was always a nervous energy. It's like, what the heck? What did I do to have this man? Now, my father was in and out because we lived at my grandmother's house, and I didn't live, and my father, that's my father's mother. So he was always in and out, although my mother threw him out, you know, back in the day because of his indiscretions and his party animal days, his womanizing days, just like I became when I got old. You know, that's why I messed up some of my relationships. I understand that more now than ever, because I was going through some growing pains. Because growing pains is hard. It's hurtful. It's painful. Relationship growing pains is emotionally and spiritually and physically painful. Growing up with your family can be emotionally and spiritually painful. We all know this. Again, family, please like, subscribe, and share this broadcast, because this is going to affect a lot of people. I'm putting something out there in the algorithms for a reason, because there's growing pains that we're going through as we're transferring and becoming more amalgamated with the Aquarian age. Because remember, the age of Aquarius is that rebel energy that's going to allow you to grow if you're willing to grow. If you're willing to grow. But remember, I remember Minister Farrakhan breaking down about a child in the womb. And if the child in the womb, as it's going through its incubation period and all that, and the woman has to go through 8 to 9 months of pregnancy, but if the woman tried to hold that pain in or hold that child in, that eventually the woman can end up killing the child, because she's trying to not let the baby out, and because the baby has to naturally burst out through the womb and come out through the womb, that the two of them can kill each other if they don't allow the growing pains to do what it does. I remember Minister Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan broke it down very eloquently back in the 90s. So I'm not no way near that, but I'm just showing you that every one of us that came through the womb of a mother, and I dare to say the sperm of a male, because the sperm has to go through its pain too. Because if only one make it to split the egg or to fertilize the egg, everyone else, all the other sperm has to die. So there's a war, military thing going on. And what I learned about the sperm going into the ovum, usually it's the first sperm that breaks through the shell, then the second sperm breaks through another shell, another sperm goes through, and then the third one is the one that floats right in because those guys, those sperm cells, opened the way. It was an opening the way. So it's a military thing. So it's go boom, boom, and then poof, I'm in. Then that third one comes in, unless it's a strong enough sperm that might break through first one time. But usually because there's millions of them, it gives it a million more chances to break through so that incubation period can start happening within the womb of the woman, even if she don't know what's happening until she starts going through her, the gestation periods and all that, and start feeling the effects of it and, the whole nausea and all that kind of stuff. Now she start recognizing. Now you got to try to make sure she's emotionally good, make sure she's spiritually good, make sure she's physically good. So while she's going through her growing pains, we are going through our growing pains because we're expecting a child to come out because both men and women are going through this pregnancy, like Dr. Africa said in his book. But we go through it differently than the women because we're not growing the child. The child is not growing in our stomach. But the energy and the spirit is growing in us. If we're tuned in and tapped in, it's growing in us also. So we're trying to make the woman a little bit more emotionally comfortable. We're trying to make the woman a little more spiritually comfortable, keeping up the prayers about the child and talking to the wound and rubbing the belly. And we're trying to make her more physically comfortable, making sure she's eating right and taking care of us, and sometimes women end up doing it by themselves with a support team of other women. But growing pains is a family thing. It's a family unit. It's about the family. It's about all of us growing together as a family. So, going directly to the subject, and I got the angel and angle numbers right here, which adds up to, I think y'all can't see that. Okay, which adds up to a 386. We're going to talk about that, which adds up to 17, which is the 8. And then in the Chaldean system, it adds up to a 225. We've seen that recently. I spoke about that number 225, and I'll be tapping into what I read in there in regards to growing pains associating with the angel numbers or the angel angle numbers. So when you see these numbers a lot of times from an angel number perspective or a synchronicity perspective, the angel number perspective is that if you see those numbers, the triple numbers or single numbers of a certain amount of time, 3 or more times, then it has a definitive meaning that can give you guidance if you're open to the guidance. If you're not open to it, like I said, numbers don't give a damn if you believe in them or not. But we've had enough years of interpreting pattern, cycles, and sequences of numbers showing up, and pattern, cycles, and sequences of numbers throughout mathematics, pattern, cycles, and sequences through science. We have enough data for thousands of years to be able to break it down from different perspectives and knowing that they all are right from the positive and the negative. And because numbers are objective, they're not subjecting you to whatever the interpretation is. It's just giving you an indication that you could either go the high road or the low road. It's up to you, because you're the controlling apparatus that can make those interpretations of those numbers become real in your life. You, nobody else. So even if my children come to me with all kinds of woes and why I wasn't there and all that, I'll just sit down and listen to them and let them vent, because they have the right to vent. But I will choose not to become angry with them, but yet listen to their anger and see if I can help assist them to purge it out like I had to purge it out when I was younger against my father. I've told y'all on my platform before, I almost killed my father. I was carrying guns at around 14, 15 years of age from friends that he let me hold his gun in my house for. My mother didn't know about this. She might be watching. She didn't know that my friend let me hold his gun in the house, and I kept it hidden and all that. But I was going to take this man out. And when I decided to walk, this is the growing pains that I'm going through, because it was emotional, because I was getting one side of the story about my father instead of getting both sides of the stories. And when children get one side and only stay on that one side, it becomes bias against the father's side, or sometimes against the mother's side, but more times as a mother's side against the father's side, because mama's babies, father's maybes. Let's be real with that. So sometimes that's what happens. And if you don't get both sides and get the duality, because like Dr. Layla Africa says, we are bipolar. We are all by definition bipolar, not from medical definition, but by scientific definition, we are bipolar because we're part our mother's pole and part our father's pole because of their union at some time that produced us, according to the studies and what Dr. Layla Africa used to say also. So it's true, we're all bipolar. Now, if you let the negative and the traumatic parts of bipolar take you down that road, then that's you that have to go get therapy now. So, and that's a part of the growing pain. All of that is a part of the growing pain. All of it is a part of the growing pain. So yes, the word growing pain adds up to a number 8 in the Pythagorean system, and 8 is the erected infinity symbol from a spiritual perspective, because I've already explained what the 8 and the infinity symbols are actually not the same symbol, but from a spiritual perspective, because we recognize that the infinity symbol look like that, that's where you can realize the infinite amount of balance that you have to bring to your life when you see that 8 show up. And because in the Chaldean system, it adds up to a number 9, that 9 and 8 can be very painful on their negative and can be very helpful on their positive. So if you go into Lloyd's book, let's say you go into Lloyd's book. I have Lloyd's book right here in front of me, and you go into the number 8 and the 9. The positive of the number 8 is authoritative, conservative, executive, abilities, religious. The negative of the number 8 is greedy, power hungry, intense, scheming. The positive of the number 9 in his book is humanitarian, courageous, competitive, resourceful, spiritual. The negative of the number 9 is impulsive, argumentative, heartless, narrow-minded, and that can all come with the growing pains. Because even in business, you got to go through, bro. So if 8 is a business number, like people like to say, it's an authoritative numbers, executive number, even through growing your business, you go through growing pains. So even if it's a humanitarian and courageous and competitive and resourceful number, even through what you're doing in the humanitarian service, you go through growing pains in being resourceful and being spiritual. People doing the spiritual work are going through growing pains. So these two numbers are very significant. And then the 18, we know in tarot means a whole different thing, because if you go to the tarot book, matter of fact, I do mention it in my book, from a tarot perspective, I talk about the number 18. And the number 18, according to tarot, is the moon card. So growing pains can also develop because the moon reflects and deal with the unseen. It deals with in my book, I talk about it depicts deception and unforeseen perils. However, many concealed things are to be learned even by those who are already advanced on the path. The number 18 also reflects the developing of the soul. The developing soul must hold tight to spiritual power that is the sustainer of all things. So having growing pains or going through growing pains, because it adds up to the number 18, you have to learn to reflect and develop you have to learn to reflect that developing soul that must hold tight to spiritual powers that is connected to the sustainer of all things, which is the universal force. So growing pains, you have to do that, whether it's happening emotionally, whether it's happening spiritually, and whether it's happening physically. I can connect everything to numbers from my perspective, from a mental health perspective, because we're trying to maintain all of these different levels of it, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and of course, mentally. So when I went into the angel number, because I can't be up here too long because I got sessions I got to do. I got to finish off these sessions for today. Very responsible. When I went into the angel number philosophy of it, so again, angel numbers, if you constantly see it at least 3 or more days, that's when you try to find out what it means. And you could Google it, but always remember there's a positive and a negative to all things, especially when it pertaining to numbers. Some may say the high and the low. Some may say the light and the shadow. Some might say positive and might say good or bad. That's up to you what you want to call it. That is up to you what you want to call it. You know, it's up to you what you want to call it. Again, Google whatever you're seeing, Google it, but always look at the duality of it. Don't ever just take one side of the picture, because if what you Google up when you see 10, 10 and 11, 11 and all that kind of stuff, if you Google what it means, always know if it's an angel number, there's always the negative angel on the other side of it. And the angle that I call it, the angle, because what happened if you're seeing angel numbers, the positive and negative of that angel number interpretation is important, but it's going to decide what angle you decide to take. What angle, which way you're going to go, because angles can go different directions. Obtuse angle, the triangle, those are all different angles. So which road are you going to take? Because criminals see angel numbers too. I keep on telling people. Criminals see angel numbers too. And the number's 386. And how did I get that particular angle number out of this word? Like I told y'all before, from my perspective, my spirit told me to say, add up the double numbers along the route. 79 plus 65 plus 95 plus 77 plus 19 plus 51 equals 386. That's how I got that. So you'll know that I'm not playing games. I'm just not throwing up a number out there. My spirit says, add up the double numbers. 32 plus 76 plus 15 plus 38 plus 11 plus 53 equals 225. That's how I got the angel angle number from my perspective. Somebody might have another perspective. That's good. I love perspective because it gives us an indication of where we need to go and how we need to go and where we need to move, because it's an angle now. So when you start, because we're synchronizing ourselves and connecting with what we're doing and what I'm doing and what I'm saying, it's become a synchronicity number instead of an angel number, unless you've seen it 3 or more times within a day. Okay, so what does she say the angel number book says about it? Doreen Birchall. I'll go straight to Doreen. I got no problems going, although she don't believe in this no more. She don't do it anymore, according to what I've been hearing. It's all good. Whatever she downloaded at the time is beautiful. She downloaded, but she still mentions God and Jesus, but she went to full Christian, so she don't do numbers. The book of Numbers is in the Bible. What are you going straight to Christianity and the book of Numbers is there? Everything is mathematics and has a mathematical perspective. So 3, 8, and 6. This is what she says about 386. Give any care, growing pains. Let's remember, this is connected to the word growing pains. Give any care or concern about finance to the ascended masters or your ancestors. I'm just paraphrasing now, as they're ready to support you in all ways. When you are going through your growing pains, give any care and concern about finances or about any type of currency or energy that you're dealing with to the ascended masters. Give it to your ascended masters, which could be your ancestors or your angelic, your guardian angels, or whatever you call them, as they are ready to support you in all your ways. You remember that old poem that used to talk about footsteps? How many people remember that poem, or that old poem that you people used to hang around their house called Footsteps, about that man that was walking in the sands, and he realized that he wasn't walking by himself? Footsteps in the sand. How many people remember? Go look that particular, because that's all about the growing pains and allowing your angelic ancestry in your bloodline, or the energetic angelic ancestors around you, frequencies that you feel sometimes in your sleep or when you're just in the moment. Allow them to assist you while you're going through your emotional, spiritual, and physical growing pains. It's all right to allow that. Allow it, like Dr. B would say, allow it. People remember that. Yes, footsteps was a beautiful thing. Or footprints or footsteps. And my mother still have that old saying hanging up on the wall. So every time I stay in that room, which is my old room when I was a child, I always look at that and think about that and contemplate on what that means to me and what that means and what I've been throughout all my life, emotionally, spiritually, physically, that ended up for me to going through mental problems and instability at one time. So yes, those little poems and those little nuances we got to use while we're going through our growing pains. So it's all right to read books by great people that can assist you. Even if they're gone and passed on to another realm, you can use great books to emotionally, spiritually, and physically assist you while you're going through your growing pains. Am I making sense in the chat, family? If I'm making sense, put the number 1 in the chat. If I'm making sense, put the number 1 in the chat. If I'm making sense, put the number 1 in the chat. So from her perspective, good perspective. Now let's go to Anne-Marie Uber's book, Synchronicity Numbers. I've been touching these books for a reason. Put hands on these books for a reason. Because right now, those 2 books that I have, and you can look up any other ones, they got a whole bunch of books on angel numbers and synchronicity numbers. I always tell people, don't ask me, after I done put the book up, don't ask me what book you should get. Go Google. Google is your friend. And then whatever your spirit draw you to, you go to it. These 2 numbers drew me in, so I went to it. That's all. I didn't see none of them on Oprah. Anne-Marie Uber wasn't on Oprah, but she was on Oprah. But Anne-Marie Uber is just a certified, advanced medium and all that kind of stuff. So I just gravitate to what I feel when I seen the book online. Nobody guided me to this book, but my spirit says, take it, So what's so interesting about 386 from her perspective, because she also gives you a mantra at the end of all of them. She gives you a nice little mantra to repeat to yourself. So she says about 386, she says, material increase. And you know why you keep on hearing that finance or material increase or dealing with financial is because 386 adds up to 17, which is an 8. So they're pulling their interpretation from the equation of the number. So when you start seeing 368, 386, or 368, you add it all up and then you'll see the definitive equation of that number. And then you could pull from it. That's why you keep on seeing material or financial. And she says the same thing in here. She says 386 is one of those numbers having to do with financial and material reward. Your growing pains. It is karmic in nature. So this is what you have attracted to yourself through past life experiences and beliefs. It is especially beneficial in the acquirement of property, home, and moving to a beautiful location. Much can happen in a short space of time, and benefits are likely on their way or have already found you. Expect good news soon. So if you're synchronistically seeing that number, this is what she's trying to say. But when I take on the energy and interpret what it means for growing pains, since the doubling numbers adds up to the 386, I'm looking at not only material increase, because every material has an energetic behind it, and every material has a spiritual behind it. So I'm also looking at the spiritual, physical, and emotional increase in one's person when I'm looking at that number, when I see the word growing pains. So you got to be able to open up. And then on the back end, she says the mantra, it says her mantra is, I am bountiful and enjoy abundance as my divine right. Your growing pains. Recognize that while you're going through your growing pains, you are bountiful and enjoy abundance of whatever abundance means to you. It could be abundant of good health. It could be abundant of good wealth. It could be abundant of good friendship, abundance of good family, even while you're going through your growing pains. She says, I am abundantful, and she says, I am bountiful and enjoy abundance as my divine right. So it's your divine right, even as you're going through your growing pain, is to get the energy of abundance to you and reflect that and be able to, because it adds up to an 8, it's a philanthropy number. It's philanthropic in its own meaning, because 8 is the number of philanthropy. If it becomes negative, then it would try to hold and hoard money and finance and circulation. And that's what stagnates the philanthropist. If you're supposed to be a philanthropist in the positive of the number 8, but you become a hoarder or somebody that's greedy. So there's a negative to the growing pains, because some people could be going through growing pains because they're still greedy. They're still hoarding things. That's why you can be going until you grow up and get into understanding and understanding your growing pains and why you went through it throughout your life. That's what you got to recognize. So, powerful meaning in all these books, but from my perspective, again, when I see that number 17, 386 adds up to 17, in my book, I talk about the number 17 from my perspective, because it adds up to a number 8, and each one of them to me represents a symbol, because that's what numbers are. They are symbols. So in my book, I said the number 7, because 3, 8, and 6 adds up to 17. In my book, I said 17 is the symbol of peace and love. It is considered a highly spiritual number, symbolizing the 8-pointed star of Venus. In some ancient circles, it is called the star of the Magi. So your growing pains should allow you to become that star of the Magi. And we know in history that Magi was those alchemists, those astronomers, astrologers, those people that knew how to turn little of nothing into something. So because it adds up to the Magi energy from that 386 angel and angle number, I look at that definition also. The number 17 person or vibration can rise superior in all that they do in life after they endure trials and tribulation. So going through your growing pains, you got to go through trials and tribulation. You got to maintain discipline. It's also the number of the 17-8 is also the number of learning how to use pioneering qualities, spiritual insight, creative meditation, and visualization methods. So even through your growing pains, you have to learn and endure and go through this. Somebody say, my life, my life, my life, my life, my life in the sunshine. Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Everybody love the sunshine. In tarot numerology, the number 17 that the 386 equates to is the number of the star. It's a number that offers hope, health, and inspiration. So going through your growing pains, it offers you hope, help, and inspiration. Going through my growing pains, brothers and sisters, I almost took my life at 8 years old, and I found hope, health, and my life path is a number 17. So those ancestral energies came through me in that bathroom before I decided to cut my wrist. And I put that razor blade down, threw it back in the cabinet, and ran out and cried in my room. For a good 5 minutes, I cried. Why am I thinking like that? But those bombardment, 8 years old, why would I get a book? I remember it as clear as day. I was in the dark of the bathroom. Dim lighted, dimly lit. And as I was doing it, I still have the mark on my wrist, a little mark because I outgrew it, of course. A bombardment of, you're going to miss your grandmother. You're going to miss your father. You're going to miss your, I'm like, where I get all this energy from? What is talking to me? And then I ran out that bathroom and ran into the room and cried. My growing pains. My life path is a 17. But because this thing adds up to a number 17, which is an 8, we all have to go through this ancestral growing pains, because 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, and all those numbers above, from my perspective, is an ancestral thing that we had to go through. And that's why it's important that I had to listen to my ancestry. I had to listen to my voice within my head at 8 years old, so I wouldn't do the unbearable and the unbelievable to the family and be a picture on the mantle, because they had a whole lot of baby pictures of me since I was young. Black and white smiles and all kinds of stuff with me smiling with big old afro and a little, not a moderate afro, not a big old afro. But I'm just saying, I had to go through my growing pains just like most of you out there. If you go, remember again that 8 deals with hope, health, and inspiration. And it brings forth ancestral ideals of the past. That's in my book when I talk about that number 17. But when I go to the number 8 that it all adds up to and break down to, the number 8 is the symbol of evolution, evolutionary development, and balance. Going through your growing pains brings about evolutionary development and balance. You got to go through something so you can get to something. And that don't kill you only makes you stronger, as you know, as all of us know. So it's very important that, so I touched that part. Let's go to the Chaldean real quick. Like I said, I got sessions coming up. What time is it? I can see it on the computers. 11:07. Okay, good. I have a little time. So I'll be finished probably in the next 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Remember, family, don't be afraid to share, like, subscribe, comment. Don't be afraid to circulate. If you appreciate what I'm saying and what I'm doing, send a love nation to paypal.me/King Simon. Or not super chat. No, let me take that off. Not super chat. I want to be able to see it immediately. Of course, King Simon, $ King Simon. So let me take that off real quick. I keep on putting up that super chat. I don't know right now where that's going to. Like I keep on saying it's going to one account, then it's bouncing around. It's like a glitch going on. But if circulate your appreciation and love nation, not donation, love nation, to paypal.me/King Simon or $ King Simon as we continue. Hold on one second. Family, going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go into our next portion of this from the Chaldean perspective. Got to take a nice little bathroom break real quick. So I will be back after this. Peace. I'll be right back. Hey, this is King Simon. Remember, make sure you go to my website, kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com, or Linktree at King Simon the Numerovator. Get all 4 of my books, and of course, that's the Numerovation for mental stability. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numbers are simple, children's health is important, and no promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. Make sure you get them now on all my links. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. Go now. Okay, welcome back, family. Welcome back. Your brother King Simon is back to do the other half, the other portion of Growing Pains. Yes, I am back. Thank you very much for the applause. Thank you. I am worthy. I am worthy. Oh, I am worthy. Oh my goodness. Yes. What's up, family? All right. Okay, good. Oh man, how y'all feeling out there? Put the number 1 in the chat if y'all feeling good. Put the number 1 in the chat if y'all feeling good. Instagram, how y'all doing out there? Are y'all sharing? Are you liking? Yeah, it's all good. If you can't post, it's all good. I see y'all in Instagram. I see y'all in Instagram world. If not, y'all can go back and watch it again. All right. Put the number 1 in the chat if you could hear me. If you can hear me clearly. You could hear me clearly now. All right. Okay. All right. We're trying to build these algorithms up, and that's why we ask people to share, like, and subscribe. And again, sharing is really caring. And I only ask people to share it with people that are on their spiritual journey, that are going through their emotional, spiritual, and physical growing pains. We're all going through it. When we finally recognize consciousness in the way that we promote consciousness, what they might call woke today, it's a hard road. I'll tell you the truth. It was a hard road. When I started knowing and realizing, becoming a young adult, not a teenager, because teenager, like Dr. Phil Valentine and many others said, they invented that word teenager. They used to, when a man or woman, a boy or girl became in their rites of passage, or they took their bar mitzvahs, they became a young adult. Then they didn't become teenagers at the age of 13, not according to ancient culture. They was young adults. Teenager was, like Phil would say, a monster that was created, to give them loopholes and, take away accountability from them, when at the age of 13, through the rites of passage, you're supposed to become accountable. You're old enough, but the mentality of our young people today at the age of 13, when you're supposed to be going through rites of passage program. I never went through a rites of passage. I created my own rites of passage program because I became part of the 5% nation at the age of 14, going into 15. So I had to, because of going through my growing pains with my living with my mother, and the majority of that side being only female, majority of all, I can count the men on that side of the family. My grandfather, my Uncle Carby, Dennis, Jr., I can count on one hand who they were. My father occasionally. But on my father's side, I have my male cousins, my fathers, my uncles, and a whole bunch of barrage of men on that side. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go because my pops wasn't there. He was in and out. When he wrote the letter, he said he wished he was in my life. I could have been this and that. I said, cool, I forgive you for all of that. But I had to say, look, I had to go to the 5% nation amongst other brothers that were studying knowledge to get my knowledge. I had to go to the Rasta community and get knowledge from the Bob Marley and the Burning Spear through music and art and all that kind of stuff. I had to go to the Ansar Law community, where I seen brotherhood, living together, sleeping together, being on the floor in Shabbat back in the days together, sleeping on floors in damn near abandoned buildings that Dr. York had just purchased, or Imam Isa had just purchased back in the mid 80s or the late 70s. I had to go through that, sleeping on floors and taking showers in cold water. Those who've been through Shabbat with us back in the 80s, some of these Negroes are soft in these communities nowadays. They didn't go through these things, the things that we went through. That's why my cousin and I always say that was one of the greatest schools of survival that we ever went through. Compared to, living in Jamaica in the country, that's different. Because I never lived in the country. I used to visit, on and off every summer, every other summer. But going through that school and that community center on Bushwick Avenue back in the day, different, because we had to get up in the morning, do security, protect the women and children's bait, protect all the houses. We had to go and work out, train, and go out and pedal and go out and propagate or do whatever. One time, a few times I walked we took the train all the way to the Bronx and walked back to Brooklyn, trying to sell the community's books and oils, and also having the Beggar's Bowl, the Ma'un, the Beggar's Bowl. So I know my growing pains, what I went through to become where I am to this day. I knew what I went through. I knew what Chunky Fresh from the Force MDs went through, because we was there together. People like Daddy O came through. People like Daddy O came through that community. People like Birdsong came through that community. People like Jimmy Cliff came through that community. People like Ted Mills from Blue Magic came through that community. And while I was cooking in the restaurant and being that pizza man back in the day, these are the entertainers that I was meeting. And that was a part of my learning experience and my growing pains. That's why I say I do numerovation, because I take the number understanding and the motivational principles of what I've gained over years, and I combined it all. So everybody that practices any form of any type of system, if they add numbers to it, they will become a numerovator, or they would be practicing numerovation. That's all I'm doing from my perspective. So the word growing pains adds up to a number. Growing adds up to a 27, which is a 9. Pains add up to a number 18, which is a 9. And 9 plus 9 equals 18. Again, like I said about that number 9, the number 9 is the number of completion, endings, higher level of thinking. When you go into my book and I talk about the number 9 from its spiritual perspective, it says the number 9 is the symbol of conclusion, the symbol of initiation, being in preparation for the new things to come. So your growing pains is a thing that you need to conclude or complete, and it's an initiation for you so you can prepare for the good things to come at every level that you take it to. Because I don't want people to spiral down. I want people to spiral up. That is the job of the numerovator. That is the job of what I am here to do. That is my mission. And now that I'm in my 11 master year, it has come around again after so many years. 11 is the number saying, this time I know my mission. That's why I don't stop talking, because I don't know how long I have on this planet. And I don't want to come back here and do this again. Like Panic would say, talk that shit, knuckle. Big up to Panic. May he rest in peace and rest in power. Talk that sass. You damn right I'm going to talk that sass. Big up to Panic and people like Bobby Hemmett talk for hours and hours and hours. And I don't get up here and talk for 5 or 10 hours. Not like that. I give y'all bits and pieces. I give you an hour here and an hour there, an hour and a half. Because I know our attention span is low. According to the science of attention span, it's only 18 minutes that people can endure of constant talking, unless it's animated and you add in all kinds of stuff. That's why movies are so important and anime is so important. And that's why anime has gotten to be certain things. So it adds up to that number 9, and like I said, when you put, and I broke down about the number 18 already, so I'm not going to go over that. You can rewind this and check it out, because it adds up to 18 first. And if I add 27 plus 18, it's going to add up to a number, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible before I get off here. So the number 9 is the symbol of conclusion, initiation, and being in preparation of new things to come. In ancient studies, the number 9 is considered a sacred number. And when it appears, we must pay close attention to its dual meaning. It is well known as a higher vibration or universal love, peace, and harmony number, but on the lower side of the vibration, or the lower vibratory side, it can bring anger, contention, sorrow, war, and death. So even going through your growing pains, it can bring the duality of what I just said. Because you might get into an argument with your family because you're changing, because you're not doing the same thing that you used to do with them. You don't eat the pork, you don't eat meat anymore, and you're around the dinner table looking and scrutinizing people and say you shouldn't eat that, and then your family starts to argue with you and combat you and all kinds of stuff about how, you can't tell me whether, and then all of a sudden, because you became Muslim or you became something higher of some type of highly spiritual, they start quoting the Bible when they wasn't quoting the Bible all this time. All of a sudden, people become Bible babblers. You know, God said this, or somebody, the Quran says this, and like, wait a minute. So just because I want to do better for myself, and you was practically, we're born in a Christian family, but you're not a staunch Christian per se. Now, because I am elevating, you're going to elevate the Bible from your perspective to me because you see me elevating in another spiritual direction, or is it another part of the Father's mansion that I'm in? because in our Father's house, or in our Father's mansion, or what I would say, in our father and mother's mansion, in our father's and mother's mansion, there's many rooms, there's many doorways. And I'm just deciding to take a doorway to become my best self, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, so I can maintain myself mentally. That's why I wrote the book, Numerovation for Mental Stability, a numerovational guide to recognizing mental instability and staying motivated while I'm going through my growing pains. Sometimes I gotta go, I read this book every night before I go to bed. Think about that. I read my own book because it's a reminder for me of where I was when I wrote that book and where I'm going, because the next book is going to be even more deeper, profound, and a little bit more thicker, and it's going to be hardcover. And more than likely, it's going to cost $111, because that's going to be from a compilation of all my studies. And that's probably going to be the last numerology book I ever write before I leave this planet. And me done, because me no want to come back here and do it again. You hear what me say? If you don't understand the Jamaican language, me done because me no want to come back here and do it again. No, sir. I have other realms to go and visit, other ancestors that I got to go talk to and deal with. And I got to come back every now and then to help my children in their dreams. And when I pass, I'll help them in their dreams. I will come back to them in dreams, and they will remember the dream when I say, look at it this way, consult the numbers. I'm going to tell them, look, consult the numbers and you'll see. Consult this and you'll see. Consult that. That's what I want to come back for. I'm putting it out in the ethers right now because I want that to resonate in the universe, that any of my children, my great-grandchildren, my great-great-great-great-grandchildren, that I'll be able to come back through the bloodline, the ancestral lineage line, and say to them, look, consult this. Be a part of that energy. You know, my great-granddad wrote a book called Numerovational for Mental Stability. I'm going through it, and then when they open the book up, they'll get all of my thoughts, all of the dedication, because in my acknowledgement, by going through my growing pain, my acknowledgement, I acknowledge people that have hurt me and that I had to heal from in this book right here. I got acknowledgement, and you'll see that there's people here that has hurt me and that is here. I'll never say it in this book. I just give thanks for them. I gave a great dedication to my father. I love and respect them, the promotional talents you've shared with me. I respect her. I gave a great respect to my sister and my mother and everybody else that I may have felt at one time that has hurt me. But this is healing me. You know what I'm saying? So please understand and understand, no matter where you come from. It's all about the growing pains. It's all about seeing it to completion. It's all about the initiation, because each growing pain that you go through, whether it's in business, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's relationship, it's here to help you become more astute in what you have to do to take the lessons and turn them into blessings that can affect you emotionally, spiritually, and physically. On that note, family, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on. You know, I am honored to have all of you on today, no matter how many people show up and how many people may watch this all the way to the end in the next couple of hours. Thank you. And whether I'm here now or transition tomorrow or 10 years from now, I have been honored to be in front of you and teach you. Believe that. From the heart. I'm honored to be able to download and upload from the microcosmic universe and the macrocosmic universe and disseminate this type of spirit, because we need to understand this. And big up to someone that called me yesterday who wants me on her show. And we had a good conversation about it. And I'll be going on her show. Her name is Nepal Shaddai. And we had a nice little conversation about spiritual development and growth. Because at all costs, she is a very spiritual person. And yeah, I do get emotional because I'm still releasing, and I really holistically want all of us to be free and be good. I really want that for us. That's why I joined organizations. That's why I joined Ansars and the 5% and Rasta and all that, because I want to see us grow. I want us to see us better. And that's what I honestly want. So no weapon formed against me will prosper. For real, for real. And I realize that. All the arrows people might shoot, the negative arrows from my past and all that kind of stuff, my energy just takes that and just shoot it down. A spiritual teacher once said, Brother Jerry Miller, he was watching me as I was rocking the crowd and emceeing an event, I think before Delbert Blair. And he said he's seeing spiritual arrows coming towards me, whatever his ancestors told him. He said, but every time those arrows try to get in my aura, they got destroyed. They got shut down. Bop, bop, bop. And all of us have that aura. All of us have that power. The more you enhance it, it becomes emotionally and spiritually and physically yours. It's all about the releasing. So I'm not afraid to release in front of people anymore, or in front of my audience, because this is therapeutic for me also. This is therapeutic for me also. As much as it might be therapeutic for people that might watch this. One of my clients said he was working out and he got emotional when I was speaking about one of my last broadcasts about the ripple effect, or one of those broadcasts. He got emotional while he was working out, and I'm glad that I could affect people in a positive way, other than the negative ways that I used to do in the club life. And I've messed up a lot of relationships. I've messed up a lot of good women's relationship. I've messed up the baby mothers and the children mothers that I have. They're all good women. All of them were good women. And that's why I say in my book, Numerovational for Mental Stability, the acknowledgement to them, I say, and I'll read it to y'all in my book. If y'all read everything that an author writes, because you're getting their mentality. And I said to all, I said, love and respect to the wonderful mothers of my children. I named them all and their extended family. I love and care about you all, and you all have done an outstanding job. I said this to my children's mothers. And they don't talk to me regularly. Only one or two of them might talk to me regularly. But that's what you have to do. You have to forgive, let go, and grow. And whatever you write, you acknowledge even the people that have pained you, or the people that you have pained. Because I'm not that person back in those days. Like Dr. B says, he did that. He ain't do that. He did that back in his day, in his past, and in his ignorance, and in his riding the fence of consciousness. So it's 11:29. I got to get ready to get out of here. I got a session at 12 o'clock. Again, go through your growing pains. It's important, and it will be emotionally, spiritually, and physically necessary for you to heal and be your very best self. On that note, family, thank y'all very much. Thank you so, so very much for being who you are and whatever you're doing in the solution to this world. Please be a solution and not a problem. And like the great Ian Levanzant said, the solution is in the room. The solution is in the same room with the problem. The solution is always in the same room with the problem. I dare to say the solution is in the same mirror with the problem. the solution is in the same mirror with the problem. Big up to Rainwater. How you doing, beautiful? All right. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Be strong, be guided, and be numerovationally guided on a higher level. Take care, and please share, subscribe, comment, and share with at least 5 or more people. They can skip through it if they want to, but share it with 5 or more people so they can get some of this spiritual guidance work from a numerovational perspective. All right? Take care. I love you because I love myself. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Peace. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are mere fragments from the periphery of the African cultural and spiritual system. And so I'm still making that statement that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are fragments from the periphery of the African spiritual and cultural system.
The legend Professor James Smalls with special guests Destiny Pendarvis and Tassili Ma'at. Get your tickets at Linktree/King Simon the Numerovator. Get them now.
King Simon. I love him. He's family. And he has one of the top shows on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network, actually.
That's right.
So make sure you guys check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, this show is called, it was really based on numerovation. It's a numerology show, and it's called How to Calculate Your Destiny.
Yes.
By King Simon. He's the host of the show. The show has done so well, we're now getting ready to start working on filming season 2. All right, so King Simon, one of the top shows on Forbidden Knowledge TV, streaming TV platform.
Hey, this is King Simon, the International Numerovator. Remember, get all my books on Amazon or go to Linktree/King Simon, the Numerovator. And remember, don't forget to book my sessions at 347-496-1022. Book now. So remember, our job as studiers of these metaphysical, esoteric knowledge is to help enhance people to be better. I, as a numerovator, using the numbers, or quote-unquote numerals, and motivation to get people to understand why they need to activate their numbers to be their very best self and maximize it. Because the numerals hold a frequency. And if you're willing to turn up that frequency, then that frequency can help to guide you and navigate you to a higher height that will allow you to spiral to be your best self. We must remember that.